Right, okay guys, it's Sean here, back with another video here on the Talk Up TV channel. And thanks for those who came along to my live show that I did the other week. I really appreciate that. With a few in, we had a good bit of a chat over there, and that was great to see everybody in. This video today actually is about the Skoda Enyaq, and essentially what it's about really is my first sort of nearly just coming up to 3 months review of the car. I like to do these reviews periodically just to give an overview of how the car's going, anything I found about the car or whatever, and that kind of thing. I'm going to do a 5 good things and bad things about the car, which I always do on all the cars, as you know. So we'll see what happens on that. But generally speaking, as you probably already know, I love this car. So, you know, it's been a fantastic car since I've had it. I've got actually pretty much zero complaints about just about anything, really. The interior is just immaculate. You know, everything is screwed together so well. I've gone for the base loft trim in here, which is the sort of entry-level trim with this sort of synthetic cloth kind of material, as you've probably seen in other videos on here. Just everywhere you go, you know, when you're touching buttons or anything, all that kind of stuff, it's just absolutely no problem whatsoever. It's been absolutely a joy to have. It really has in that respect, and all that kind of thing. I'm going to have a video coming up. I still haven't had a chance to do the driver assistance on here, the autonomous driving. So, well, not autonomous driving, but the sort of level two cruise control. We'll do a bit of that. This one can be used a bit on A roads as well. Decent A roads, you can get away with it on this one as well. Apparently, if you're using the mapping system and everything like that, you still got to be a bit careful. But because it's obviously not a, but many people have done videos on this, and it does really well in those conditions as well. So it's very high level 2 cruise control on this car, I think. The infotainment system, which came with some criticisms, of course, when the Volkswagen Group cars, which this is a part of, when they first came out. I've actually had zero condition problems with this, and in actual fact, I would say the maps are as usable as a Google Maps. They really are. It's really superb. It seems to take you. What I always do to test these systems is go somewhere that I know really well and navigate to it. Not to go somewhere where I don't know, because I won't even know if I'm going down the best roads or not, probably, you know, because I don't know the area. So what I've done is I've been navigating to places I know really well and testing out how this does compared to, say, Waze or Google systems, which are proper mapping systems, you know. And this has been mapped out extremely well, you know. It really has. It seems to know. When I went up to Liverpool, again, it seemed to take all the best routes that you would expect to go on that journey. And even if I went a bit off the beaten track here and there, it seemed to pick up all the even the sort of very more remote B roads that I went on a few times. So it's a really good mapping system. And I've always said that mapping systems on cars are important, because that's where you're going to get your percentages for your arrival time, for your battery and stuff like that, because that's all integrated into that system. It's not in your system for Google Maps. You know, it might tell you roughly. It can navigate you to charges, of course, but this will actually navigate you on longer journeys outside of your range. It will obviously pre-plan that and be able to get you into a charger anyway. But it just gives you percentages. It gives you that peace of mind when you're going somewhere a bit further. You think, oh, I'm going to go in there with 7% battery. That's fine, you know, that kind of stuff, you know. So this whole system has worked really well. This is on the 5.4, the latest update, of course. And I know there are people out there with lower versions of that, if they've had the earlier cars, and they don't have this one yet. But obviously it'll be coming, and it's a really good system, really good. It doesn't fail. It's really good. As I say, the mapping system's good. The internet side of it's good. Connection is very good as well. I very rarely drop off, if any, ever really drop off signal on the car. It's amazing in that respect as well, even if I'm using my Bluetooth and stuff. So it seems to do really well under those sort of things as well. Probably better than my other car, really, I would guess. I'd hazard a guess on that one. So yeah, so that's all really good. I can't start going over positives and negatives too much. There's not a lot of negatives anyway on this car because I want to do a 5 good and bad things. I will mention one thing because I think that is the rear, uh, the boot. So the boot has a kick sensor, so you can slot your foot underneath it, and of course it raises up the boot. So if you come into your car with a lot of shopping, you just scrape your foot, you just put your foot underneath the back there at the bottom near the boot, and you don't have to go too far in either. It's fairly okay, and the boot will obviously open up, which is brilliant. It's actually ideal for if you've got a lot of bags and stuff like that. The downside to it is that I've noticed is if you're putting bags, because it's quite a big boot, if you're putting bags right to the other end of the boot, kind of a thing, because you've got a lot to load in, sometimes your feet can go very close to that sensor because you obviously have to get a bit closer to the boot. It's obviously a big boot in this car. It's 585 litres, and it sets off the thing. And I have had it come down on my head. Now, although it stops, it's gave me a bit of a bang on my head actually. So just be careful when loading and unloading things at the back. If you've got the kick sensor feature on your Skoda, just be a bit careful with that. In that it can. Sorry, I've not got my tripod with me at the moment, so I'm just sort of balancing my phone there. So I've got the sort of steering wheel in the way. So sorry about that, guys. But yeah, so be careful with that because, as I say, when the boot comes down, obviously, you don't want to injure yourself. So just be a bit careful with that. I don't think it's really a fault on the car as such, but obviously it's a very sensitive sensor, really, which isn't a bad thing because you can see a lot of videos out there with cars that have that feature on them, and they're swiping away, nothing's happening, and you've got to get the right spot. Whereas with this one, just a general swipe underneath, even very close to the edge of the boot, you don't have to have your foot right under there or something. It seems to connect with it practically every time, so it's good from that point of view. But just be a bit careful when loading and unloading the car with regards to setting off the sensor, and obviously the thing comes down. It won't obviously clatter you one because as it touches you and it senses there's something in the way, it will obviously stop. So it obviously does that. But the point is, it still has that feature where it still has that issue where that can happen. So that's just one thing I wanted to say on a slight negative with that regard. A lot of people have about the can I see it from here? The binnacle here being a little bit small. Now, what I will say to that is, sorry, this steering wheel. Let me just go as if I'm going to drive a minute, so I can just get that round. There we go. If what I want to say about the what I want to say about this is, although it is quite small, I mean, I don't have the best eyesight in the world, but everything is so clear on there that it's actually not a problem, and I think it's more than ample enough. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. As you can see, I've got 48% on there, 193 miles. That's the other thing with this car is I've mentioned this before in other videos. It's a very, very efficient car. I know we're in summer and people will be saying to me, oh yeah, but just wait until you get to November and December. And I understand that in January and stuff, and I get that. I've done 1,424 miles in it. So I haven't done bags of miles, but it's been on a couple of road trips as well. So, and it's been holding up absolutely tremendously. It's a beautiful car to drive. It really, really is. So sort of no issues that way. What else can I mention about the car? There's no front trunk, of course, in this car. Don't think you really miss that or need it on a car of this size because it's got such a huge boot with loads of storage solutions everywhere, and even more things you can do at the back to sort of get things in. I don't think it's a real deal breaker. Front trunks are a bit of they're not a myth, but I mean, unless you're going to do something really major there, like you would in some of the American pickup trucks and stuff, and have a real deep well in there, we can really sort of almost put a couple of suitcases in there. I almost don't feel there's a lot of point in the front trunks really, because even if you're going to put your cables in there, you still got to go around there, unlock the boot, lift it all up, and go in there and get your cables out, which is probably just the same as if you're just going to lift up the flap at the back and take out your ones at the back, and unless of course you've got it loaded up with luggage, then I suppose that's a different thing. But generally speaking, I don't think it's a big deal breaker for me, front trunks really. As long as you've got reasonable boot size, which on the Enyaq of course you have, no problem. Yeah, I've got the 18-inch wheels on this. It goes up to 21s, so you can spec up whatever you want. And I've said without the dynamic chassis control, which is a kind of an upgrade on the general the chassis of the car. I think it should just be standard really. But I've actually driven one with the chassis control and driven without. There is definitely a difference. It's a little bit smoother and that kind of thing. Now, what I won't say is it's a rough ride. It's not a rough ride. It's a firmish ride on the Enyaq without the dynamic chassis control. But what I will say about that is nothing bad about it. Do you know what I mean? Yes, you feel bumps and things coming into the cabin, but you don't feel it, if you know what I mean. You know it's coming in, but you just don't feel it. It's hard to explain really, but it's just perfect. That's on the 18-inch wheels. If you go for the 20 or the 21s, I'm not so sure. That might be starting to become a bit of a rough ride on this. And to be honest with you, 18s look fantastic in the wheel arches. It doesn't look out of proportion with the car. If you do a side-on view of the car, if you go back over some of my videos where I've done walkarounds and stuff, you'll see it doesn't look out of shape or out of context or whatever to have that there. So I don't think that's a big deal breaker particularly. And as I say, it'd be nice to have the dynamic chassis control, maybe a little bit more of a smoother ride, but it's not a deal breaker, or it's even a problem, I would say, really, because I've driven this on some long trips and stuff now, and it's been perfect. Yes, if you're going to go down some uneven B roads, you're going to feel it, but you probably feel that in most cars anyway. So not really an issue there. But in my advice is go for the 18s if you're going to go without the dynamic chassis control, which is an extra add-on and another 500 quid or whatever it is. So if you don't want to pay that and everything else, then that's the one I would go for really there. Everything's been working well in the car, as I said before. Look at all this, everything's holding up really well. This gets a bit warm when you use it. I wouldn't say hot, warm. And it doesn't seem to charge that quickly. I'm not 100% sure on what the actual charging speed is of the wireless charger, but I actually don't really use it, I'll be honest. And it does say that it's supposed to have cooling, so air's supposed to blow out of there. Now, when I felt the air, whenever I put my hand over there, if I take my phone away, it's blowing warm air. So if anything, it's actually heating up, especially in the hot weather we've just recently had. Really hot weather. It just gets hot in there. So I just tend to sort of use the cord. I just tend to plug it in, and that plugs in really well, and it's just really quick, So I just use the USB really, a USB-C. So but outside of that, everything's working. I use that as my shortcut to climate control, which is nice to have that there really. I've obviously not used these. I'll probably use those more in the winter. And but those buttons there work well. Obviously, if you want to bring up your cameras, you've got that there for that. That's your modes over there, and assist there. But like I say, so it's been working really well. I don't have any issues with the car as such, really. I will say that about it. And as I've mentioned in other videos, if you're in the market to either go and lease or buy a family-sized SUV, I would strongly recommend you go and test drive this, or even the L-Rock if you don't want anything quite as big as this. If you've got a slightly smaller boot, and that's about it. And inside and interior, trim levels, battery sizes, they're all comparable. So I wouldn't even worry about that too much. So even maybe the L-Rock, which might even save you a few grand. If you need the boot size, you've got a dog, or if you've got go on a few trips and stuff and all the rest of it, you just want that bigger boot. I've used to use this car to go to the dump a couple of times, get tons in it. It's got space for days. It's a great car in that regard. Obviously, Skodas are known for that, so no big surprises there really. The automatic wipers work really brilliantly, by the way. I was out in a storm the other day, I say a storm, you know, from all the hot weather when we had the thunder and lightning and rain and everything was coming down. And this will just, as long as you got it one stage up, it will just go to whatever speed. You don't need to keep on changing that to sort of vary the speed of the rain. It does it all for you there. So that one really works well. With obviously things like the lighting, I'll do more probably closer towards the winter, when it gets darker much earlier, and we can give the lights a test, because the lights, of course, have the amazing headlights on this, so we'll be able to see how they all work. So that should be good. The sound system is quite good on here, I think. The average sound system, not the upgraded one. No problems with that. The sound is really sharp on it. Good level of volume on it as well, so no issues there either. Everything's just been amazing. Oh, I did have the child locks not work, and then I found out that down here is where the child locks are. And I called the garage and I said, "Oh, my child lock seems to be on at the back. You know, can I bring it in to have it looked at?" And he said, "No, you just need to go to the driver's side." Let me show you. This is where the where are we? This is where the child locks are. Okay, so as you can see, there's a little child on there. So if you press them down, that will then engage that at the rear, which is good. And you've got one on the other side there as well. So that's how those ones work. So I thought I had an issue with the child lock, because funnily enough, when you open the door, it's still got those little spindly things that was, going back a few years, when you used to turn the child lock on and off. Little thing used to turn with just a little thing, and it even tells you that to do that actually on the infotainment system. But when I gave them a call, they said, "Oh, no, it's all in the thing there." But they still got them actually inside the doors, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, so outside of that, no issues with that at all. What else can I say about the car? Charges really well. I've never been more than 25 minutes at a charger, from fairly low state of charge up to say 80%. It's got a claimed, I think, of 27 or 29 minutes, I think, depending on what you're starting off with. But I think a 10 to 80 is 25 minutes, really. No issues with that at all. You've got the preconditioning there, which you can use to warm you up to chargers. So that's there as well. So all of that sort of stuff is there. Brilliant stuff, and just really, really great. So anyway, I think we'll end it now. So in my almost 3 months of owning this car, I can report back it's one heck of a car, and it has very, very few things that annoy me about it or issues I have with it. It's just been a great car. So there we are, guys. So I should catch you on the next one. My next one will probably be the 5 good and bad points. I'm struggling to find the 5 bads. But there is a few things I can mention, I guess, that I think could be sort of kind of improved on that way. So we'll have a look at those. But yeah, so that'll be on the next one. I've also got a couple on the BYD, which is just here coming up. So a couple of things I want to mention about that one, and still nothing planned for taking out other BYDs. Like I say, I'm not in their best books, I have to be honest with you. They feel I'm an overcritical kind of a person, and for my platform, and I mentioned before, I can't change the way I look at cars in that respect, because I have to be honest, and I have to give a true picture of what I find and what I see. And there are flaws on that car, as you know, with charging speed and one thing and another. So in the 2025 situation. So but at the same time, like I've always maintained, it's still a great car. Doing 90% if you've got a home charger, if you're doing virtually all that sort of stuff, it's absolutely no problem. But anyway, that'll be coming in another video. We'll talk about that one. So for this one here, thanks for tuning in, guys. And as I say, get on down to a Skoda dealer. If you're looking for a family-sized car, you can do way worse. And in actual fact, I'd go just so far as saying you'll be hard to actually do better than this in the price bracket. Yes, they've got a lot of option packs on these, and they can get expensive. But I mean, even on the basic, this is just the basic level, guys. I've got the basic 85 edition. which is of course the next one up from the entry level one. But even in terms of packs inside, I've just got the basic trim, the basic everything. And I love this material on here, it's lovely. Really is nice all the way through, with this sort of brushed aluminium effect sort of wrapping right round underneath as well, which is really good. So no issues whatsoever. So yeah, it's a really good car, and I shall catch you on the next one, guys.